Prepare to fire! Fire!
Wars are often won by armies, but history has shown that they are just as often won by secrets. Hidden in the shadows, behind enemy lines, spies have worked to change the course of history. From the ancient world to the digital age, this is the story of how espionage has shaped the world and how information, stolen or gathered in secret, became the most powerful weapon of all. But first, what is espionage? Espionage is the act of gathering secret information from enemies, usually to gain an advantage. It's the hidden side of warfare, where spies collect intelligence without being seen, whether through spying, intercepting messages, or infiltrating enemy lines. Espionage is all about using information to outsmart the opponent. Over time, the methods of espionage have changed, but the goal remains the same: to gather secrets and use them to win, often before a battle even begins. Now let's dive into the ancient world, where espionage was not a profession but a necessity. During the Trojan War, as told by Homer, the Greeks used the famous Trojan horse to infiltrate the city of Troy, ending in a conflict that had raged for 10 years. Though steeped in mythology, this event highlights the earliest recorded instance of espionage being used to turn the tide of war. But espionage in the ancient world went beyond mere trickery. Empires like Egypt, Persia, and Rome understood the value of intelligence networks. In Rome, the speculators, an early form of military scouts, operated behind enemy lines to gather crucial information about enemy movements. These scouts wore disguises, infiltrated enemy territory, and reported back with vital details that often dictated the success of Roman campaigns. In the Punic Wars, Roman generals like Scipio Africanus relied on information from their spies to outmaneuver Hannibal's forces. The victory at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, which effectively ended Carthaginian power, was the result of superior Roman intelligence. Espionage wasn't just about conquest, it was also crucial for internal security. The Roman Empire, at its height, was a vast multi-ethnic domain, vulnerable to rebellions and conspiracies. Spies were tasked with gathering intelligence not just on foreign enemies, but also on potential threats within the empire itself. By the medieval period, espionage had become a critical component of European power struggles. In the 100 Years' War between England and France, spies played a decisive role. Covert agents disguised as merchants, monks, and even entertainers infiltrated enemy camps and relayed critical information to their commanders. One of the most famous examples of espionage during this period was King Henry V's use of spies in the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. His agents provided crucial intelligence on French troop movements and weaknesses. This information allowed Henry to position his smaller, outnumbered force strategically, leading to a stunning victory. Espionage during the medieval period wasn't confined to the battlefield. Monarchs like England's Elizabeth I used intelligence networks to uncover plots against their reign. Elizabeth's spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, is remembered for his role in foiling the Babington plot, which aimed to overthrow her and place Mary, Queen of Scots, on the English throne. The Renaissance brought with it a new age of political intrigue, where espionage became intertwined with diplomacy. Italian city-states like Florence and Venice were centers of both trade and espionage. The Medici family employed spies to protect their interests and expand their influence. Diplomats worked as much in the shadows as in the public eye, gathering information that could shift the balance of power in Europe. In Renaissance Italy, figures like Niccolò Machiavelli wrote about the importance of deception in diplomacy and war. The art of espionage had become just as refined as the art of politics. As the 20th century dawned, espionage took on new importance with the rise of global conflicts and new technologies. World War I marked the first major conflict where modern spy networks were fully integrated into military operations. Information was gathered by coded radio transmissions, intercepted messages, and agents operating behind enemy lines. Mata Hari, the famous Dutch exotic dancer, became one of the most notorious spies of World War I. Accused of being a double agent for the Germans, Mata Hari's trial and execution in 1917 became a symbol of the dangerous world of espionage. Whether she was truly a master spy or simply a scapegoat remains a topic of debate.
The fateful hour of 11 has struck, and Britain's final warning to Hitler having been ignored, a state of war once more exists between Great Britain and Germany.
World War II took espionage to new heights. On the Allied side, spies and codebreakers worked tirelessly to undermine the Axis powers. The British government's Bletchley Park operation, where cryptologists cracked the German Enigma code, played a critical role in the war. The ability to intercept and decrypt German military communications allowed the Allies to anticipate and counter Axis strategies. The story of Alan Turing and his team at Bletchley Park is one of the greatest achievements in espionage history. Their work is credited with shortening the war by several years and saving countless lives. But espionage in World War II wasn't limited to cryptography. The British Special Operations Executive, SOE, carried out sabotage missions in Nazi-occupied Europe, disrupting supply lines, assassinating key figures, and organizing resistance movements. On the Soviet side, espionage was equally critical. Soviet spies infiltrated Nazi Germany, passing valuable intelligence to Moscow. Double agents like Kim Philby, who worked for both the British and Soviet intelligence agencies, became infamous for their role in shaping not only the outcome of World War II, but also the geopolitical landscape of the Cold War. The Cold War turned espionage into a global chess game. Spies and double agents became the key players in a shadow war between the United States and the Soviet Union.
If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist.
Intelligence gathering, sabotage, and disinformation were all part of this high-stakes conflict. During the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, the world came to the brink of nuclear war. It was intelligence gathered by American spy planes that revealed the presence of Soviet missiles in Cuba, setting off a tense standoff between President John F. Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. Behind the scenes, spies and intelligence officers worked feverishly to gather information and negotiate a peaceful resolution. The Berlin Wall, which divided East and West Germany, became a symbol of Cold War espionage. Both sides used the wall not just as a physical barrier, but as a point of infiltration. Spies passed secrets across the Iron Curtain, and occasionally captured agents were exchanged on fog-covered bridges in the dead of night. The Cold War was an era defined by double agents, individuals who betrayed their own countries to serve the enemy. Some of the most infamous cases involved Aldrich Ames, a CIA officer who sold secrets to the Soviets, and Oleg Penkovsky, a Soviet colonel who provided critical intelligence to the West. Today, espionage has moved from the battlefield to cyberspace. Intelligence agencies around the world now engage in cyber warfare, hacking, data theft, and counter-terrorism operations. The tools may have changed, but the objective remains the same: to gather information and use it as leverage in global conflicts.
Using an alphabet of state-linked hacking groups, Beijing is accused of infiltrating government institutions and companies around the world. Much of their interest is economic advantage, but also a desire to snoop on those perceived as dissidents or critics of China.
In the digital age, cyber espionage has become one of the most significant threats to national security. State-sponsored hackers infiltrate government databases, steal classified information, and disrupt critical infrastructure. Intelligence agencies now fight on a new front, where a single breach can compromise entire operations. From ancient scouts to modern cyber spies, espionage has always been the unseen force shaping the world. Wars may be fought by armies, but they are often won by the secrets gathered in the shadows. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more content like this. And stay curious, stay aware.